What episode is 5?
We're at episode 5, yeah.
Nice.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Podcast. My name is Bucci,
Hey, this is Ari.
Well,
and we have a very, very special guest today. Do you want to introduce yourself to the
Hey.
podcast?
Yes, I'm Philip Johnson.
All right, Philip, we appreciate you coming. I think we're going to have some great conversations. For those of y'all who don't know you, first and foremost, where can we find you? Where can we follow you?
You can find me on Instagram at Philaye, Philaye, Twitter at Philaye Films, Facebook Philaye Films, YouTube Philaye Films, and PhilayeFilms.com.
All right, so you got a lot of films in your name. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And I hope you do films.
Yes, so Philaye Films Incorporated is the company that I started last year. I'm 23 years old, black, currently living in New York City, but about to move to LA next week. Well, I don't know when this is airing, but anyway,
before you go.
Yeah. And Philaye Films Incorporated is my film production company that I started last year, and right now the web series on there is Black Sex in the City, and the 2 seasons of that are on YouTube right now and the website. And and I'm moving to LA to pursue film further and really take it to the next level.
Okay, so before we even get into the conversation of why you started those endeavors, what is Black Sex in the City?
Black Sex in the City is a comedic web series just about dating in the black community in the 21st century, and especially the LGBTQ side of dating. So, and there's different topics. It's comedic, dramatic, suspenseful, just a lot in one. It's an experience that has a lot of twists.
Yeah, I'm sure. I hear from all of my friends, because I am not dating right now. I hear from my friends who are dating that dating in New York has to be one of the most challenging things that you could possibly do as a New Yorker.
Yeah.
It's hard out here to find anything, to find a job, to find love. So I'm not surprised. All right, well, let's get into it. So I think today we just wanted to talk about what it means to be successful in this day and age, being black, being young, trying to make it. So first, I think I want to go around the room and just ask you guys, what do you think it means to be successful? So, Will, you want to start?
Sure. I think for me, being successful is being financially stable, being in a career that I enjoy, and just being able to do things I want to do without having to save. You know what I mean? I don't want to save monthly. I kind of want to already be there and be able to kind of do things I want to do and just pursue different dreams, not just one, but various dreams that I have, essentially, for myself.
Ari?
To me, being successful is being at peace with what you're doing, to get up and to be excited about what you're doing, and also to use all of your gifts. Success for me is if God forbid you're on your dying bed and you're like, okay, I use every gift that was given to me on this earth. So whatever gift you have, whatever you feel like you need to do, you're at peace at that, and you're using all your gifts, you're growing, and you're just trying to be the best you can be.
So that has nothing to do with financial security, though, your definition.
No, it doesn't. I feel like you have to be financially secure because you need to survive. But if you're using all your gifts, most likely the money will come. So I don't think that the money should come first. It's your gift. Develop that. First you have to recognize what your gift is. Understand all your gifts, and then use that knowledge to grow and to really put yourself out there. And when that happens, the money will just naturally flow in. So yes, it's nice to have money, but you can't take your money with you when you leave. But I feel like more like on the spiritual side, that energy that you created while you're here will continue in some other form. So, but the money will just wither up, and because they take that old money and they replace it, and you can't take it with you. So yeah, that's my definition of success.
So Phil, I think you heard they kind of have two opposite definitions. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
On that spectrum, I kind of just fall on both sides in a way because I feel like it's such a complex topic, kind of. Like, I almost feel like the way I define or try to define success is by just choosing and pursuing and staying on the path of your passions mixed with that monetary success, since our capitalistic society forces us to consider both, just because the earth has limited resources for like a finite number of resources for an ever-growing amount of people. So unfortunately we have to mix both, but I think that success is always taking those leaps of faith necessary to not settle for just the money or settle for just the passions, so that a middle ground can be reached in order to just have balance, I guess, since there's always sacrifices, but the path is the key.
Yes.
Just choosing that path that's right for you.
I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit.
Bring it on.
I mean, I have probably a very different upbringing from all of you guys. Like, I was born in Nigeria, and my family, we, emigrated to the United States when I was 7 years old, and like my mom raised us by herself. She like worked super hard to raise 6 kids, get us all through school, and I looked up to all of my siblings because they worked really hard, and they busted their butts. They worked crazy types of jobs, every type of fast food restaurant you can name. They went through. They like busted their butts. They paid their way through school, and now they're all what I consider successful. So for me, what it means to be success has always been financial security, because when you're poor, when you're an immigrant, when you're trying to figure out your way in the world, there isn't that much room to pursue your dreams and like find your destiny. And I was sort of in a middle ground because I was the youngest kid, so like all of my siblings struggled, and I didn't have to struggle as much as they did at all, because like I didn't need to work in fast food restaurants, but still they instilled that idea that like I need to go to school, I need to work hard, I need to get the best grades, I ended up like studying like accounting and finance, and like that's the profession that I work in now. But I'm still like, at my age, I'm almost 30, and I'm wondering like, am I successful? Because I fit those traditional like check boxes of success that like would satisfy like what my mom worked for and stuff. But I see a lot of my friends doing like amazing things, and I'm thinking like, damn, I'm not successful. So I don't know.
What do you mean by amazing things? Like in terms of?
I mean, I have friends who are doing super creative things. Like I know people who are pursuing modeling, music, acting, who are just traveling professionally, and who I feel like are making significant impacts in different industries and avenues. And I mean, I work for a great company, but I don't feel like I'm
fulfilled. Almost?
Yeah, I'm not fulfilled. I'm not making some kind of significant change.
Is the podcast helping you feel starting to like change that in your life?
I think so, because now that I'm telling people that like, oh, I started a podcast with my friends in 2018. It sounds like interesting. But if I tell people, hey, I work in corporate finance, like they're gonna gloss over me with their eyes, because they're like, oh, I took finance and I hated it, or I took accounting and I hated it. So you're doing something that I really hated, and yeah. So now I feel like I am trying to redefine my own definition of success, because like I was too focused on kind of like my parents, like the previous generation's definition of success. So I guess my next question for you guys is, has the definition of success changed over time for you guys? Like, is there any generational difference in what it means to be success? And yeah, we'll start there.
I'll go. For me, it definitely changed. I think when I was younger, I was definitely more on the path of like the traditional thing. Like I, went to college, did law enforcement, worked at a jail, got a regular job. Didn't really want to pursue much else outside of that. But in the past, obviously 2 years, it's been very different. Where, for those who don't know, I don't think you know yourself either, Phil. I have a 1-year-old, so for me, it's changed now to a point where financial security is huge with me right now because I have him, and also accomplishing my goals because I want my kid to look at me and be like, my dad did all these different things that he wanted to accomplish like while I was here, like, I'm seeing it. So that's been what's been changed for me a lot, and just kind of getting all of my dreams out there and at least put my foot in every one of them to at least try it all and see what happens, basically.
Yeah, I definitely, going back to what Bucci said, like growing up, all I heard was go to college, get a good job. Go to college, get a good job. So I spent most of my time like going to school and going like to SAT prep and doing all these things to have like the more traditional, well, my mom geared me to have that more traditional way of being successful. But I think for me, which I thought that that's what I should do. And then when I was trying to like preparing to go to grad school, there was like a shift in me that said, it was like this pull, and it said no. And once I felt that pull, I was like, wow, I never thought outside of, what else can I do? So after that, I feel like I spent years just trying to figure that out. I tried so many things because growing up, it was all about going to school and going to college and then going to grad school and, just getting into a good profession. But I feel like most people around me, they did that. And then there's like this pull that you have that something else needs to happen. And I think for me, I think my mom, she said something to me that really hurt my feelings, but I feel like she wasn't trying to be malicious. She was just like something was trying to wake me up. She said, you have all of these gifts and you're not using them. Mm. And I was like, wow, like that hurt my soul. And she was like, well, and that's why I think I was like, you know what? I have all these gifts for a reason. Why am I not using them? And I feel like the way I was going, I can't use these gifts in a traditional job. Mm-hmm. And then you see, like you said, all these other people who are doing all these amazing things. And it's like we're all changing what it means to be successful because mm-hmm. we realize there's something else there. Mm-hmm. We don't know what that is, but I feel like we're opening up so many different ways like that to be successful that are tailored to our gifts and our goals. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely it has changed, but I think we need to change mm-hmm. because we can't keep going on this path. Go to college is just not working anymore. Mm-hmm. We need more than that.
So when you said that like there was at some point that you realized like I can either go to grad school and do the traditional mm-hmm. thing, but like something didn't feel right for you.
Mm-hmm. I reached that exact same point.
Yeah. Like how did people react? You mentioned that your mom was supportive. I'm actually surprised by that. That's dope because I feel like most parents would be like, no, you need to do the quote unquote the smart thing. You need to like make sure you get that other degree, get your master's, like that Kanye West skit. How were people around you? How did they feel when you told them like, oh, I'm not gonna go this traditional route. I'm gonna do this other thing?
I feel like when you don't go to the traditional route, like even now I'm dealing with this with family and friends, people don't respect you anymore. Mm. It's kind of like, who do you think you are? Or what are you doing? That's not the smart decision. Mm-hmm. Why would you go and do that? Because it's not a secure path. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I can go to college, get, make 6 figures, become whatever. But people don't make new pathways for other people to follow by following old pathways. Right. Mm. Like, you have to, and my mom, I think it's because I don't have any children and I have a bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, you did that. That's you're okay. Like, if anything happens, you can always use your bachelor's degree, or you can always go to school. Mm-hmm. But while you're here and you don't have a family, go ahead and try and go out into the world and pursue your dreams. Mm-hmm. Because, will always be there. Mm-hmm. But maybe this time now where you're free to do certain things, or, you're not as obligated or tied down. And even if you are, you know, while you have this in your soul, go and do that. And I think she supports it because no matter what I do, I'm always okay. And when she sees that, it's like, okay, go and do your thing.
Yeah, that's what's up that you're getting that support.
Yeah, it is.
And then, Phil, so you're literally about to embark on that journey. So I'm assuming you worked like in a traditional.
So basically, I kind of relate to how you all said it changed for you because growing up, I was very about I was a perfectionist the whole time growing up and just put all this pressure on myself. So I was all about like 4.0, like perfect standardized test score, perfect college experience, business because I know it'll lead to money, and then internships. And then I reached the point where I was going to be doing my master's of accounting. And then I withdrew and moved here the next week without a job, without an apartment, without money. I just took out a relocation loan because I got to the point where I just couldn't accept the life I was going down. I went through just this breakup period where then I really had to look into what I was doing and why I was doing it. And a lot of what I always did was the safest choice. I liked math and finance and numbers because there was a finite answer and everything could be predictable always. And that's how I felt. And I started embracing like some creative passions and stuff though, and really just sparking my curiosity in ways after I graduated from college in 2017. And that's what led me to moving here. So then I did end up, after 3 months, getting a job as a financial analyst at Ralph Lauren. My last day is Monday. And like, I think that some of my family definitely, at least one of my family members definitely is like, you're leaving something so stable and, you know, you don't have a job lined up in the place or an apartment yet, because I like to live dangerously. I've embraced that now, that I like the uncertainty kind of going after my passions. And yes, I know there's capitalism, so I'm working on how to make sure that, you know, I'm staying financially astute, but I've reached a point where I don't like the structured 9 to 5 life if it's not within the industry with which I want to be working. So fashion and doing finance for fashion, it's not something I want to do 9 to 5. I reached the point where I realized that our lives are spent, so much of them is spent at work, and I worked 9 to 5 at Ralph Lauren this past year and a half, and 5 to 9 I did film and all the creative stuff. And I'm at the point now where I'm taking the leap of faith with going to LA because I know it's necessary in order for me to make my 5 to 9 my 9 to 5. And that's what's most important to me. Like, no matter how long the path takes, having the goal in mind of just only doing things I'm passionate about for my 24 hours of the day, every day. So,
do you guys ever hear the quote from, not the quote, but the video with Will Smith in it about how everything you want in life is like on the outside of fear?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's really true.
It is.
Whenever I feel that fear and anxiety and stuff in me, I kind of live for that, like, adrenaline or discomfort, because that makes me feel like I'm doing things I should be doing. If things don't scare me, then they don't feel like what is for me.
Yeah, because you have to live outside your comfort zone to grow.
Yeah.
And that's, like, that video for me is what pushed me to do where I'm at now, basically. Like, that, like, for me, Will Smith is my personal, like, idol since I was a kid. So seeing that video was like, all right, like, let me jump on this, let me figure this out. And then I started, like, pursuing modeling a lot more aggressively at that point. I think, like, they know, like, I cut my hair from braids or, like, being in the gym more often or whatever, just to kind of pursue what I was trying to pursue. Like you, like, I work 9 to 5, well, 8 to 4, and from 4 to 12 midnight, whatever the hell time it is, I'm doing modeling stuff, or I'm, like, on Instagram trying to socialize and network and trying to get myself out there. And it's a grind, but I embrace all of it and I enjoy it. So
I hesitate when taking advice from rich ass people like Will Smith, because I don't know, maybe it's just because I personally don't know anyone who is at that level of success. Because I feel like really rich people can just be like, oh yeah, just do A, B, and C and you'll get where I did. But, like, not everyone is a Will Smith, that's one. And two, there are, like, unique barriers that exist for, like, a lot of people. And that's actually something that I wanted to talk about, right? Like, one of the things that stops me from taking a lot of risks is because I think that there are a lot of unique barriers that I face because I'm Black. Like, I know that like some of the people that I went to school with, they're equally smart, uh, as smart as I am. But like a lot of them were able to like after we graduated, they went and they started off their own businesses, right? Like they left the opportunity of a high paying job to start their own businesses. And I'm like, I have ideas. Why couldn't I start that? Well, I don't know. I don't have like inherited wealth. Like I don't have all these privileges that they do. So like I feel like it's even harder for me being a black man being successful because I'm already starting further behind than everyone else. Right. And like once in a while there is gonna be a Will Smith type person, but like there isn't a pathway for everyday Bucci, you know? And unless I think I'm Will Smith, I'm probably not gonna go into some kind of like risk taking endeavor because I have a lot more to lose than everyone else.
I totally agree with that. I feel like there are, when you're like a minority, or if you're a woman, or if you're just like in a marginalized group, I feel like there are more barriers that you have to overcome. But I feel like how amazing is that when you had all these obstacles, more obstacles in your way, and you overcame it.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this I was like listening to motivational speaking, and I forgot who it was, but they said something across the lines like, when you want to make a change, you have to like, is it a priority? Like, are you committed,
Mm-hmm.
or is it just a dream?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're committed, you make different choices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you commit yourself to something, it doesn't matter who's in your way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will overcome it. And so what I usually do to overcome like what you were talking about is like I go back to the 1900s and I research minority women who overcame, like who became millionaires, who became someone of importance. And I just research them and I read their like biographies and just think about like, because I'm like, if they can do it in the early 1900s, like why can't I do it now when I have so much more opportunities? But it is difficult, but I feel like for me, you can't let that enter your mind because it will even make it harder for you to overcome it.
Yeah, I like to, because even with what I'm doing and working my way into the entertainment industry, being black and gay, it definitely is a barrier because one of the things that you'll see famous actors say is their recommendation is that you like conceal your sexuality if you want success and stuff like that. And when I've seen these things, it almost just drives me more to just like keep doing what I'm doing almost, because like she said, then after you've like overcome, you know, just all of the different marginalizations that there are in America if you're not a white male, then it does have that sweet feeling almost like knowing that you believed in yourself and just really had fun. And I think that that's how a lot of change ends up being made, since so many of our legends are doing things that, you know, weren't really done before them. That's really dope stuff. So like you said, I love looking to just the stories of the people who worked. It's even inspiring when you see the people you research and they worked for 12 years and had no success with maybe the terms that we've defined, and then they reach their point. Like that type of stuff is, it just points to the importance of the journey and like embracing the journey. And it's difficult, but it's rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys think that America is finally ready to embrace black creativity? So like people who are pursuing their own like non-traditional endeavors, folks who want to act, sing, dance. I mean, there's always been like actors, but I think that and maybe like some of you guys with the acting background can school me more, but like back in the day, like in the 1970s, MGM almost went bankrupt, but they were saved because of blaxploitation movies, right? That like typecast black men as pimps and white women as like nurses who moonlighted as prostitutes, right? But I think nowadays we see black creatives writing, directing, and like starring in roles that don't all portray
A certain
like one stereotype as all black people, right? They get to see us as people. Like in Moonlight, I thought like one of the reasons why I thought the movie was a beautiful film was that it wasn't trying to glorify like the main character one way or another, he was just a human being, and that like that's what you really saw in like in a really raw emotional way. So yeah, do you guys think that there's like more of a space of black creatives to sort of be themselves and be successful doing it?
Yes, definitely. I feel like I always feel like, well, what I'm trying to grow and learn from is that the shift happens when it happens within you. So I feel that us as a group, the shift is happening within us, so it's showing up on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're ready now to come out of the shadow and into the light and claim what we've been doing for the past 100 to 200 years. Like, we've been doing this. Now it's time for us to show you what we can. Yeah, capitalize on it. And I think if we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and not accepting, okay, I have to play this character every time. I have to play the angry woman in this movie. And then in the next movie, it's like, no, I want to go out and branch out and do these different things. That's why I love J-Lo. Because she came out in a time where they wanted to typecast her. And she was like, no, I don't want to be this person every time. I want to go out and I want to do this. And I want to sing. And she's doing everything that she wants to do. And I feel like once you go within yourself and you don't accept, no, I'm not accepting this. Like, us as a group. So yeah, to my point, yes. And I feel like it's because we're changing, we're coming up, and we want to change the game. We don't want to keep being in the shadows. We don't want to be, playing the same roles or having the same music or not capitalizing on our art.
So you, Ari, specifically, you're pursuing acting. Do you feel like you get typecasted, or do you feel like you have more of like a little bit of creative freedom in a type of characters that you want to play?
So my experience so far, it is a little different because I feel like I have an ambiguous look. So right now, I don't think I've been typecast, but I'm also starting out and I'm new to the game. So actually, I did do a film, and it was kind of, yes, it was definitely typecast, but that was just that one film. Not all of them have been like that. So I'm hoping that I won't settle for that. That if that's happening, I will say like, no, I will hopefully want things to like, I wouldn't want people to put me in a box.
Right.
I want to like try different things, and I have to myself keep pushing for that.
Right.
So yeah, that's my goal.
And Phil, maybe you can help answer this too, because I know with actors specifically, or at least in the film industry, people can very easily get boxed in, right? Like if you do one thing and it makes a lot of money, then everyone else is going to come to you looking for that same thing. So how difficult is it to try to break away from that and have the creative freedom to keep making the types of things that you like to do?
So far, all I've done really in acting, other than maybe a couple fun things when I was a kid, is the web series that I've created, Black Sex in the City, and then the next show I make will be my next time. So it's kind of been nice to get to write my own character and to get to really just have that full creative freedom and autonomy, because it's had me it's like enabled me to focus on having fun and focusing on the creativity throughout the process, while also being conscious of being able to create different versatile roles for myself. Because, for example, for the first season of the show, each one of the episodes is unconnected and it's not a connected plot. So I got the opportunity to play a lot of different characters. And since I haven't had formal acting training or anything, although you can't completely really tell from the show, it really enabled me to just test my own bounds and challenge myself and try new things, like you said. And then the second season, I got the opportunity to then create characters, and have a connected plot the whole season. So just with my own art, creating things that are forcing me to challenge myself has just been a great experience. And I hope to not be pigeonholed or boxed in when, as I continue to just break into the entertainment industry in general.
That's interesting. Like for me, like I think even in modeling, it happens a lot too. Like I know when I first started, like a ton. When I first started out, everything I got for like a good year and a half, 2 years straight was all fitness stuff. everything was like Spartan race or just any kind of fitness ad. Basically, I was always missing out on like the high paying like fashion stuff and all that stuff. And the past 4 or 5 months, I kind of forced myself out of that and started doing like shoots with other photographers to kind of like get different looks and get different gigs and stuff like that. And at least now I'm like more out there. I can like for versatile. I can do like Louis Vuitton last night or like whatever else is coming up, and have a different thing going for myself. Because I don't think being typecast or pigeonholed is. I mean, it sucks. Just to be perfectly blunt, like I don't think anyone wants that for themselves, and I think right now into society it's a lot easier to remove it from yourself because of social media.
Right.
Like if you, and hate to say this, but like Soulja Boy is a great person for this because he did open up that of like showing people that like I can be successful on my own without a major push of my people behind him. I'm not his biggest fan. However, I do agree with that 100% because it's like you're not limited anymore. Like you can basically create your own path essentially.
Like he created Drake.
Right.
I mean, he did.
Right.
Drake owes his whole career right now to that man.
I don't even want to. Listen, I'll just say this one thing about Soulja Boy. If anyone tells me that Soulja Boy does not do drugs, then I just want to get a lie detector. Because have you taken one look at him?
Oh, his eyes be bugged out.
Look at his eyes. Yeah. He's so... Anyway.
We've always been skinny.
Shout out to Soulja.
Joe Biden calls him Soulja Man.
I did want to mention, because, like, I'm going the more traditional route. But, like, even within my, like, traditional corporate finance job, I do think that one thing that hinders me from being successful is me being pigeonholed in my own role. Because I feel like when I applied for the job that I have now, there was like a very narrow job description, like go to school for this degree, have these skills, and be able to accomplish this job. And that's great. And I've been there for a while, and I feel like I'm doing my job well. But if I want to move on to bigger and better things, you know, within my career, it's so difficult because I become the go-to person for those very, very specific things. So, I don't know. It's a little frustrating when I want to do much more than my role, but, like, I feel like I'm pigeonholed into that because it's like, here's what we hired you for, and now it's what you're good at, and now you're the expert in this very narrow thing, so we just want you to keep doing this. So how would you guys recommend that people break out of that narrow way of being typecast? I know Phil mentioned, like, maybe one way you can do it is just to become entrepreneurial, right? Like, if people don't want to let you write for their films, go write your own. But, like, for those in more traditional paths, what can we do?
I think just be upfront. Like, I know for me, like, I worked at the jail as an officer and everything, like, I was just upfront with my goals and what I wanted to pursue there. So like I told my captains and my sergeants pretty immediately, like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. I want to advance here and here and here. I'm good at this particular unit, and I work well here. However, there's a whole other jet to work at. I want to actually see it all and experience it. That way, I can move up quicker. And the same thing with my job now. Like I told my boss, literally in the interview, like I don't intend to be at this level very long. Like I intend to move up, and it's like I graduated from my degree. Like this is like I'm moving up. That's just my personal opinion. I think just being upfront with what your goals are and sticking to that and holding those around you accountable for it to help you make it happen. If not, then do it on your own.
I would agree with that. I'm all about, okay, try to make your situation work where you can have a talk with your manager or your team and let them know, okay, yes, I'm good at this, but I would also like to grow and try this, and I don't mind getting a certificate or get training. And if they're just like, no, you know what, that's okay, because they have a vision, but you can't stifle yourself. So if you need to go to a different company that's open to getting training, oh yeah, we would like you to do this, or they support what you want to do, then you might have to leave that situation, or like we'll say, you have to start your own thing and start fueling your own vision. So I believe that you shouldn't definitely, if someone says no, you shouldn't take that no for an answer. Like, don't even hear no. Try to really push for it and you have to try different ways, and eventually the way that's right for you will show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's really good feedback, and I'm actually gonna take that uh, into consideration because I think I'm doing a lot outside of work, but I think part of the reason why I'm doing that is because I feel like I can be doing more with myself, and if I can't get that done at work, then I'm just gonna find some other outlet to do it in. The last question that I had, and I just thought of this on the fly. Um, I think all of you guys, in talking about your individual endeavors, it seems like it's all very like internally driven, internally motivated, and a lot of success stories that I hear, like across all industries, there's usually like a story of one person who had the drive or who had the idea, and I don't know. I don't know if the concept of success is almost how do I express this? I don't know if the concept of success is almost falsely sold to us as something that like one person just like pulls, herself up by her bootstraps and just decide, I'm tired of this, so I'm gonna create this lane and do this thing. So do you guys think success is something that you accomplish on your own or something that you need people in order to get where you need to go, or just somewhere in between? Like, is it a solo thing or is it like a we thing?
I definitely believe that it's somewhere in between, because what I've learned just from this journey is that when it's your vision kind of your dreams, nobody, there may be people who are come close, but nobody will fully see exactly what you see for yourself, even if it's not exactly entrepreneurial, just your vision for your life. So I feel like as an adult, there are a lot of lonely moments where you feel like only you fully understand, support, and just can help pull yourself up. If you're in a negative place, I feel like as an adult, you reach the point where you see that there will be sometimes you need to pull yourself up and move yourself forward without anyone's help. But with that being said, naturally we're human, so we also need just to feed off of the positive support and just help and love that we do get, because even if it's not family, even if it's not friend, like no matter what, everybody has at least somebody within their lives that they've met, just kind of with them along the journey and feeding them positive energy. So I think it's just a matter of balancing the two, but really only relying on yourself is important.
I agree with that. 100%. Like 100%. I'm trying to add to it, but I was like, damn, that's actually what I wanted to say. But that's, yeah, I agree with that. Like, there's definitely a middle ground, but I think a lot of it's intrinsic. It has to come from inside first, and then, having to, like you said, having those extra supports is awesome, but it starts with yourself, and it doesn't get done without you wanting to push yourself, essentially. It can't all be just, like, outer support. It's got to be everything involved, and a large it has to be yourself.
Bucci, what do you think?
Well, I know I'm definitely more encouraged just because I'm not a risk taker. I'm so afraid that like if I were to pursue something that is not traditional, that one, that I'm not gonna be creative enough or talented enough to achieve it. So I just feel like I have a lot of self doubt in myself. And then two, just because of the schools that I went to schools with people who went very traditional route. So my definition of success was very narrow because it was just like, oh, I went to school for accounting and finance for undergrad, and then like corporate finance and banking for grad school for my MBA. And everyone else that I knew went those traditional routes, and they were very successful. And by successful, I mean like they were very financially secure. They lived in great neighborhoods. They had great apartments. They're buying houses now. And the folks who did more creative things, they were just off to the left somewhere. Like they weren't even part of my world. I consumed the content that they created. Like I loved watching films. Like I love photography. I love looking at photographs. I love looking at art. The music thing, I even produce music on the side. But I've always viewed that stuff as something that's far away and separate from me. So it wasn't until I started having like you guys, my friends, actually doing things. It's just like, I know you guys, and I've always known that you're talented, but just actually seeing that like you're pursuing your dreams, and that you have any milestones, no matter how big, no matter how small, it encourages me to say, hey, like you do have talent, you do have intrinsic value, and like the world could benefit from hearing your opinions beyond like here's a financial statement and you know here's how to read it. Listen, you want me to write you a damn business plan? I can write the shit out of it. But yeah, so like it definitely helps me to see my friends do it. So I'm more of a we than a me. But that's just because I don't have the same self drive that a lot of you guys have, and the same like.
I actually going to correct you. I think you do personally. I've been for a while. You do. I think you just don't see yourself. Like your self drive just comes out differently. I think versus like what you're seeing, I guess, in like us.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, from me watching you, you're super motivated in like everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether even if it's like a night out, you're planned
Yes.
out to a T,
Meticulous.
and like making sure like yo this is happening. We're gonna have a great fucking night. Like you're super motivated when like it's something you're set on. So I don't agree with that at all. I think you just need to embrace where it is that you're setting your sights at.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's the trick of the game. It's like life is a game. And when you're trying to do something different, your brain is going to it's trying to help you survive. So it's going to scream at you, no, don't do it. Like, you're crazy. Why would you do this? You have a great path and everything's working out. It's like back in the day, 5,000 years ago when we were in the forest and you know you're on the same path, and then you know like maybe your father he went off the path and he got eaten by a lion. So now you know your genetics soaked that, well his genetics soaked that in, and now it transferred to you, and it's like your brain is telling you no because you're going to get eaten by a lion. So, and it's like our brain is trying to help us survive. But you have to be like, screw it. Even if you're scared, like me, I'm scared. I'm scared of walking down the block. I'm scared. I'm scared of everything. I hate getting on the. And I'm from the Bronx. Like I should not be scared. But when I get on the train and it's like I'm scared of everything, but I just keep telling myself like keep going. And that there's a little voice in my head saying you're stupid. Why are you doing this? Like you're not gonna make it. But on the other side, it's like, no, keep going, keep going. It's like this little battle in your mind. And that's the trick of the game. It's like, you have to keep going. You have to keep pushing yourself. And it is scary because you don't know it. No one you know has done this. So you have to just try to figure it out. And if you fall on your butt, it's freaking hard and embarrassing. But you got to get back up and keep going because it's like on your deathbed, would you rather say, I went off the path? Yes, but I was successful, didn't get eaten by the lion, I made it. Or it's like, oh, I followed the path and, you know, that I thought I was supposed to do, not my path. And yeah, I was successful, but I wish I would have tried.
And there's ways to combine everything. I mean, you could be doing finance for Sony Music,
Yeah,
business
seriously.
plans, consulting. I mean, break in and boom, now you're a producer.
Hey,
Yep.
Sony, y'all
Period.
You know how to manage your money.
That's, well, barely.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's true though. So I'm a little bit of like a movie nerd, a sci-fi nerd. So what you said, Ari, just reminded me. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Matrix, but there's like a scene. I think it's in The Matrix Reloaded where Morpheus, like someone was doubting Morpheus, right? Because Morpheus, he's woke, right? He's like unplugged from the Matrix, and he thinks that there's this one person who is the one that's gonna, that's gonna save humanity, right? And it's a crazy idea. Like you live in this life where, like robots are ruling the world, and you're like, well, this one person is gonna save us, and we haven't found it yet, but I'm gonna find him, right? So someone is doubting him and saying like, what if you're wrong? And then he goes and he says something along the lines of, that's true, like we do have the odds stacked against us, but like just think, what if I'm right? Right, like just the power of that belief in yourself can be so powerful, in you trying to pursue what you're pursuing, especially when you're going against the grain of like what everyone else is thinking.
I think one of the really important things that I've been trying to embrace about life is that there's always going to be uncertainty. There's always going to be hard things to come, always great things. But our focus has to be on the positive possibilities of the uncertainty. We have to get excited by it and be like, what blessings are coming? Because we always know more are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, negative things are coming, but we don't have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to plan for maybe some of them, but we just have to focus on trying to imagine, like you said, what if things do work out? What if the best thing does happen? Because that's what keeps us on the path, keeps us going.
Yeah.
So that then something great can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I relate everything to sports to a degree. Like for me, like whenever I'm in a sport, no matter how good I am, how bad I am, whenever I'm on the court against whoever the person may be, I approach it as I'm better than you. Like I'm coming to win, no matter how you could be fucking Michael Jordan. I'm in my mind, I'm better than you for that moment. Like
period.
when we leave off the court, when we're off the court, I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
But in that moment where I'm playing the game, like I'm better. Like I have to keep it in my mind, or else I'm not gonna try as hard.
So what happens if you do lose? Do you still have
I'm humbled in it.
mindset?
I'm humbled in it, but it's like
Okay.
I'm giving my all. I'm cool with losing as long as I know I gave my 100% in that in the effort.
So will you like out loud let them know
I'll talk
you
shit.
feel?
Oh, I talk shit.
yeah, yeah.
I talk. He's seen me. I talk shit. I keep it going. I don't care how much better someone is than me. I'm coming for you. Try to take your crown. Like, that's just how I'm at. Like I approach a lot of things. It's almost with like that Russell Westbrook mentality of like I'm coming with all kind of ferocity towards the rim. Like I'm trying to win no matter who it's against. And I think that's just how or everyone personally should just approach things sometimes. And like I already said, it is like scary and like it's tough sometimes to kind of face that. But for me, that's just kind of how I operate on a day to day.
You gotta slam dunk it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
No
Like,
passive, no.
no, you
And
got,
if you miss the dunk and airball the dunk, well,
well,
at
shit.
least you try.
shoot. It'd be inefficient, but get something done.
I tried.
Exactly. So I don't know, but I think that's just for me, like right now, especially with like again with my 1-year-olds. I'm determined to get there. Like I know this year, one of my goals. I don't think I've told you guys yet. One of my goals is to get on at least one major media thing, because I think that'd be huge for my career and just in general. Like I think it'd be really dope to kind of have like a bigger outlet and a bigger reach. So that's one of my goals for the year, and I've got a few things in line to kind of make that happen for myself this year.
Yeah, I think it's good for all of us to talk about our goals for the year. My goal this year is just to take a risk. And I know it sounds like a very small thing, but like it's a huge thing for me because I've always done the safe thing in life. I just want to take a risk and say, I don't necessarily know what the outcome is going to be. I don't know if this is the smartest thing for me, but I want to take a risk, whether it's professionally, whether it's personally. I have a couple of like side hustles that I'm trying to get off the ground. My goal at the end of 2019, I want to say that like I took a big risk, and it might not work out, but hey, it might.
My goal for 2019 is to monetize the creative passions to the point that they are my 9 to 5. That is the most important thing for me in my life, because I take my time very seriously, and there's a lot of things I like and a lot of things I think are fun that are outside of film. And honestly, doing this outside of my 9 to 5 job, it takes a toll on you at a certain point when you're really realizing just how much free time you're sacrificing. So I don't regret a second of it, but it just makes me hungrier and hungrier to be at the point where balance is more possible. Because entrepreneurship outside of 9 to 5 is, you all know, it's crazy. So
For me, I just want to do everything that scares the shit out of me. Whatever that may be, just if it scares me, all right, let me go do it, and I'll try. And going back to you, Bucci, like I was thinking, you know, like you talk about like your family, it was very important for you to go to college and like get a secure 9 to 5 job. But like, what about people who like doing what you do is outside of their safe path? Like some people don't grow up with, you know, someone telling them go to school and go to college. Maybe like they grew up in an environment where they have to do something else. And so I think that it's awesome that you're doing that, because your dream, what you're doing now is someone else's dream.
True.
So it's just I think important that like maybe it seems like most of us, our parents were the ones to like set the example of what it means to be successful, and then like we're trying to determine success for ourselves, and maybe even what we did could be someone else's dream. So it's just like no matter what, to just like push yourself and do what you feel like is best for you.
Yeah, I think this is a great conversation. We'll probably wrap it at this point. Again, we want to thank Phil, very, very special guest.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for having me.
And super safe travels too. All success in LA.
Yeah.
Thank
Keep
you
us
all.
updated on your journey.
That's a wrap.
Cool. This is
That was some really good talk.
Yeah,
This is really
seriously,
dope.
we got deep, y'all.
This is really
Inspired
dope.
the fuck
Yeah.
out of these people.